Und damit ein herzliches Willkommen zurück zu einer neuen Folge von Vampyr. So, ja, die XP reichen nicht mehr aus für irgendwas. Hm, Blutarmut. Mhm. Was ist das? Eine Lungenentzündung. Da fehlt uns aber auch was, okay. Die nutzen wir. Ach so, ich kann nur ein oder das andere. Ich bin immer ein Freund von Schaden. Ach, interessant. So, dann können wir hier raus. Finde die Anwohner von Whitechapel, finde Richard sowieso. Oh, wir brauchen wieder Blut. Ey! Ja, ich hasse es, wenn es mehrere sind. No, nützlich. Sehr nützlich. Hier geht's dann wohl wieder raus. Entschuldigung. Ich muss mich auch mal entschuldigen dafür. Ich werde wohl ein bisschen wortkarger sein, die nächsten 1 bis 2 Folgen. Ich bin mich gerade erst aufgestanden und wir haben, also was heißt aufgestanden? Ich bin wach geworden so gegen 8:30 Uhr, während ich jetzt hier aufnehme. Jetzt ist es 9:18 Uhr, das heißt vor ungefähr einer halben Stunde. Ähm, war aber auch bis 3 Uhr morgens wach. Es war ja Friendly Fire. Das gucke ich mir jedes Jahr an. Also das lasse ich mir auch nicht nehmen. Das ist für mich ein großes Event. Also nicht nur für mich, aber da bereite ich mich drauf vor, wie viele andere auch. Und gucke mir das dann ich weiß gar nicht, 12 Stunden an.
It's locked, all right.
Deswegen bin ich ein bisschen groggy, weil mein Körper der Meinung war, hey, lass uns um 8 Uhr aufstehen. Und ich so, ja. Yeah. Wie kommen wir denn da? Entschuldigung. Wie kommen wir denn da durch? Hier gibt es rechts einen Weg. Nee, gibt es nicht. In die, ja, einmal. Was willst du denn? Hab ich beide getroffen? Oh, cool. Jetzt reicht's. Ich muss dieses Ausweichen in diesem Spiel noch mal richtig... Ja, wo kommst du denn jetzt schon wieder her?
He's too fucking fast! We have to stop it!
Nochmal ein Snack. Ein paar Schillinge jetzt, aber nichts Besonderes. Müsste das nicht dann der richtige Weg? Ja, richtig ist zwar so eine Sache, aber... Immer schön alles durchsuchen. Hier waren wir sogar schon. Ah, ja, genau. Wir sind ja so weit zurückgelaufen aus dem Grund, weil wir ja den Safe Room nehmen wollten. Zum Speichern und alles. Alkohol und Pillen. Alkohol und Pillen, ja. Das ist das Leben.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Haben wir sonst
Goodbye.
nichts.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my
Du
wares.
siehst aus wie
I'm
ein Clay.
Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Right then.
Mal
Show me
Hand.
what you have.
Ich würde ja gerne was von diesen ganzen Waffen loswerden, die ich habe. Nein, geh doch nicht weg.
Buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane. So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Das ist so dämlich alles. Also, ja, sie ist eine Ausländerin und gibt kostenlos Untersuchungen. Ja, das muss eine böse Frau sein. Eine sehr, sehr böse Frau. Ich will mit dem gar nicht weiter reden, aber...
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Skulls.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Joe Patterson. Nichts. Da haben wir auch alles.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis. Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
Well, you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition. What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world
Well,
of
this is
causes
always-
and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Ach komm.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Bisschen im Blut.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost?
Ach, ich hab das jetzt schon wieder.
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know?
Das weiß ich aber. Ich will nicht.
Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition.
Ja, der ist sehr, sehr gut. Aber so, das ist, glaube ich, ihr Leben in London gewesen. Dann haben wir bestimmt noch...
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Boah, so ein richtiger... Ja.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Klar, weil ja auch jeder Kerl so anziehungsbedingt... Ja, er würde sofort einer Frau den Kopf verdrehen. Das wird dann... Alter.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane
Ich will
more
die alle
than
töten.
other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Und tatsächlich ist es eigentlich sogar bewiesen, dass Frauen, ja, jetzt vielleicht nicht unbedingt politisch, weil da sind ja auch nochmal immer mehr Faktoren, aber insgesamt an Führungspositionen, sag ich mal, einen besseren Job machen als Männer. So. Ja, da gehe ich jetzt nicht nochmal drauf. So, das
I've had
war's.
enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Den bringe ich sowas von um. Bist du ein Clay?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Ah,
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
If no one stops it, this epidemic could turn into a scourge. It may kill more people than the war itself.
Yes, this is another kind of war, but just as deadly. History will judge us all for what we did and what we did not.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
ich hab's ja gerade dabei gehabt, deswegen dachte ich mir, hey. Nichts.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied
Schon
mobs
wieder so ein
incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
Dann haben wir, glaube ich, jetzt alles.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious, never goes out, doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel. talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out.
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Das muss nicht heißen, dass...
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Der Typ, ne? Nidderkott. Hinter der Kirche hat er gesagt, glaube ich, ne? Oh, aber ich sehe gerade, wir machen ein Folgenpäuschen und ich hoffe, wir sehen uns in der nächsten Folge wieder. Bis dahin. Ciao.